Hello and welcome, dearest. I'm Grandma Mimsy, and today I'm continuing my series on the cards from Louise Hay, the affirmations for self-esteem, and I'm going to talk about struggle and suffering, because the card today is talking about the concept of releasing that struggle, and we unknowingly are creating our own struggle. There is the tenets or the concepts of, and my words escape me at the moment, I'll do more on this in the future. I don't exactly remember the words from where this comes from, but there is a belief system that is spiritual but not religious in a sort of way, and it talks about there are 4 things that are happening within us that create the circle, create the cycle, that create the circumstances for why we feel the way that we do, we think the way that we do. And in the process of that, to begin with, there's, as in my previous video that said about acceptance, excuse me, Vegas is dry and dusty. I apologize for coughing in your ear. So if we can accept that bad things happen and there's not exactly anything to blame, that if you take away the deities or the villains that we have been taught from others, because originally people didn't have a way to know things. They just believed things were done by the outside influences that are unseen. And they created these ideals and these images and circumstances that would affect us for different reasons. If we weren't good, then the bad thing would happen. So it also is a way of control. You control the masses, you control the groups, you control the minds of the people. And for the leaders in different sections or areas, whether legal or religious, if you can control the minds, you can control the people, and you don't have to do anything to enforce that. You get them to believe a certain thing, and they will follow and do what you tell them to do. And unfortunately, humans are malleable like that. We so want to be accepted and loved and approved of that a lot of times we will give allegiance to something that we probably shouldn't. So if you can release the idea that you have to struggle and maintain a certain existence to be worthy of getting a reward in your afterlife, that is an unhappy way to live. And there's also in the slangosphere, if you want to call it, that phrases of getting off the struggle bus, or I'm driving the struggle bus, that a lot of times we do it to ourselves. We put ourselves in these positions knowing full well that something we're trying to do, we're struggling at, and all that is doing is keeping us stuck. We're not living in our divine right to be happy and joyful, because we feel like we have to do things in a certain way. So we're struggling in what I like to call, that I've heard being said, trying to shove square blocks into round holes. You're shaving off the edges, and that shaving off the edges is not an easy thing to do. If we could just find the round pieces, it'd be so much easier to put those parts into place. But we grow up believing that there's a specific way things have to be done. We can only do it this allowed way, this approved way, or this way that will give us approval. There's a lot of people out there that went into jobs or careers because a long time ago, you only had that option when we had class systems that if your dad was a baker, you had to become a baker. There was no option for you to become an artist. If your dad made swords and worked in the metal of forming and creating things, pots and bowls and dishes and other stuff, again, there's artistry in that, and it is artistic, but it's not watercolor paints. So you were forced into doing the industry that your family did, which is kind of like, it comes down to, if you look overall, those who were swordsmen, their name, they were the guys that were part of the agency, which is the wrong word, but the infantry. They were part of the ones that carried the bows, and they trained and learned how to shoot the bows and arrows. They were called bowmen. That has become a name. If your family did the baking of the breads, you became the baker. Your last name is Baker. So a lot of these industries, these professions became names. And that's how you ended up with a surname. You're John Baker. And Smith is the people who pounded out all the swords and the shields and the armor. Smithy. Anyway, so we're trying to struggle to keep up to the family image, the family expectations. Well, you have so many people who, for whatever reason, decided that they wanted to have a doctor or lawyer, so they had to become a doctor or a lawyer to make their family happy. And they really didn't want to do that. They wanted to go into teaching. So a lot of these people will work in their career for a certain amount of time, and then they find a way to go into doing what they wanted to do within that region because they have all this training. Well, they get to do what they love if they can combine the two. Well, sometimes that suffering is at the risk of us in the same time understanding what we deserve to have. We do deserve to have goodness. We do deserve to be treated well. We do deserve to have a loving family. And if we can't achieve that with the ones that we were biologically born into or adopted into, hey, sometimes we're going to go and try and find that on the outside, which is why a lot of people don't understand that in certain areas there's those who will join gangs because they don't have that love and acceptance and caring from the family that they were born from, or if they feel like it's the only way that they can achieve an existence. There's the book called Utopia, and there's a movie that talks about the book in the concept that if you regulate things to the point that you tax and put people in an area where everything that they have, they had to hand over to the upward nobles, that the church and all these people that were in power and control would take everything from them. So they had nothing left. They had no food. They had land that they could work, but everything that was on it was removed from them. So basically they had the one outfit that they wore, and they might have had a roof over their head, but they had no way to feed their families. So they would go hunt on the king's land, or they would end up stealing from things, and then you're punished for doing those things that you need to do just to feed the people that you're supposed to be responsible for. If you create the criminals and then you punish them for the crimes they committed because you forced them into it because there's no other way, that is not taking care of your people, and that is not being concerned for your citizens. That is just a form of of putting those who are in the least able position to protect themselves to becoming criminals, and then blaming them for their circumstances and their mistakes. It's inhuman and illogical and insane, but this is what we do. We tell people that their value and worth is only based on the things that they can do for other people or be for other people. And individually, that is not okay. You have to find your own truth. I think it is, I'm not exactly positive of the quote, but you can easily search it out by Les Brown, who says that the graveyards are the richest place on the planet because so many people die with their story inside them. They didn't write the books, they didn't create the programs, they didn't paint the art, they didn't do the things that was in them that they were born to do, to bring to this earth, to bring to humanity the things that they were gifted divinely, that was their, it was theirs to bring, and they didn't do it because out of fear or other obstacles that they either knowingly or unknowingly allowed to keep them from doing it. Find what it is that you're here to do and do it well. Find what it is that you're supposed to do. Don't tell anybody about it, because there will always be naysayers. There will always be people who are there to drag you down, because it's easier to pick on people and crush their dreams than it is to go out there and face your fears and find your own. Don't let others influence you, because you are like the 5 people you hang around the most. So the 5 coworkers you hang around with the most, the 5 friends that you have, the 5 church members or religious people in whatever group that you belong to, whatever hobbies that you belong to. The 5 people in every areas of your life are the ones that are going to influence you, because in every group there's always someone who is more outspoken and will lead the group, and then the other 4 will follow. And it will be something that you will feel forced out of peer pressure or just the desire to fit in and not be ridiculed about anything. So don't tell these people. Find your tribe that will support you in these endeavors. Find the people and the resources that can support you in the knowledge and the experience you need to know. Words are hard. To find the legal or regulation people that are there to advise you, the courses, classes, or certifications you need to have. Do that in secret. Do that in your own best interest under the cloak of, I'm just trying to find myself. Figure out something that you can be honest about, and then keep the rest close to your heart until you're ready to unveil it. And then go be who you are supposed to be. There's a reason why there's that phrase, you do you, boo. Find who you are, boo, and be able to go do it. And I wish you well. I hope you find your happiness. We're meant to be here on earth to experience our own joy, to experience our own learning process to get to that joy. And then we can bring it to the masses. We the people need to take care of we the people. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you soon. Bye.